Hello, you, and welcome to another stream. It's Sunday evening, which is later. It's later than we usually stream on a Sunday. Usually Sunday is a sort of a chill Monday, early Monday stream, but well, we have a special reason for a later stream today, and I'll tell you all about that. You guys know I've been playing this Izzet Hellraiser deck to fairly middling success, I'll say. I've not been doing super well with it. I streamed on Friday, and we had just a really long run of losses. So then I mentioned the idea that maybe, so I got the idea from, like, I first saw the deck on Reddit because the creator of the deck, Nithin, put up a post talking about the deck, the guide, how he'd been playing it, the success that he'd had. And I was super impressed, and I thought that the deck looked really fun, so I gave it a go. But we played all night Friday, and we did absolutely, to put it lightly, we did absolutely dog shit. And it was really bad. So I raised this idea that maybe I could get Nithin to coach me on how to use this deck, because he's used it to great effect. Nithin is like, he has like a 70% win rate over 700 games in like top 100 Mythic. As far as the arena ladder is concerned, Nithin is probably the best Izzet Hellraiser player in the world, bar none. And I thought it'd be a crazy idea. Maybe I could get him to coach me on how to win with this deck. Well, testament to my administrative skills, Nithin is actually gonna join us on stream today, and we've organized our first coaching session. Are you there? Can you hear me, Nithin?
Oh, hey. I'm here. It's next to stream.
What was that noise?
Sorry.
So yeah, can you hear okay? So is there like you said there's an echo coming through for you? What can you hear? Does it sound okay?
Discord.
It's just through Discord. As in, there's an echo coming through Discord.
I think you just need to mute.
Yeah, probably. If I just mute on Discord, can you still hear me?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I was just you're tuned into the stream, and okay, right, we're there. Okay, cool. Tex Muhami, thanks for being here. Thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. So yeah, Nithin, you can hear me okay right now?
Yeah. It's you sound very fine. Yeah.
Okay. I think there might be just a little bit of a delay, but that is workable. Let's test that real quick before we jump into the games. If I say I want you to answer as fast as possible, what is your favorite color?
Red.
Okay, so did you have to think about that, or was there a delay?
I think there was a delay.
Yeah, okay, hold on. Let me yeah, let me see if I can sort this out. So I need to turn you up and me down. Is that what you're saying? So Sam is in chat giving us some feedback. So Nithin needs to be louder. Yeah, Nithin needs to be a little louder. Nithin, do you think you could mute the stream? So, Nithin, do you think you could mute the stream and I'll unmute on Discord? So if we talk through Discord, there won't be a lag. There might be a little bit of a video lag, but that should be fine.
Yeah.
Does that work?
This works.
Now, can you hear me okay, Nithin?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
All right. Could you I want to turn you up a little bit. Could you what particular shade of red is your favorite color?
Just like a very bright red. Yeah.
Okay. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so let's, Sam, can you tell me, Nithin, if you just give us a few words real quick. I just want to test your audio levels. I want to make sure that Sam and the rest of the chat can hear it okay.
Yeah, sure. I'm Nithin. I'm the creator of the Hellraiser deck. I've been playing this deck since the beginning of Bloomborough. I've been playing Magic since Ikoria, 2019. But I only recently got back into Standard in Bloomborough, and I was looking to build a deck, and I pretty quickly stumbled upon Hellraiser and Season of Weaving. So yeah, and since then I've been like playing the deck a lot and fine tuning it to have it be as competitive as I can make it. And yeah, so now there's like a community around it too, which is pretty cool.
Yes, that is very cool. So let's let's take a look at the deck, and then we can talk a little bit more about how it came about. But first, let's look at the context of the deck. Sounds like audio levels are all good. So guys, again, this is the first time we've ever had Nithin on stream. So if there is any issues with the audio, just let me know, and we can tweak it as we go. So I'm gonna cut across to Arena. So this is the version of the deck I have been playing. And I guess what we'll do, I'll give my idea of a deck tech. I'll tell you guys what I think of this deck, and then Nithin, you can add to that. You can add your thoughts, because I think you're likely to have more to say than I will. So I've talked about this on stream before, but I'll go again. If you use OBS, recommend using this program to co-stream. Oh, thank you, Tex Muhami. That's good to know. I will check that out. I will check that out afterwards. I am using OBS, but we're not necessarily co-streaming. Nithin is just sort of tuning in. But we're having a conversation about uneven Spire Bluff Canal copies. Yeah, we're having a conversation about maybe making this a regular thing. So if we do, then I will look into the best way to do that. I appreciate that, man. Okay, so the deck. It is a tempo-y, control-y combo deck built around these two cards, Season of Weaving and Capricious Hellraiser. So the idea is that you, in the early game, you control the game, you fill up your graveyard, and you enable a cheap Hellraiser cast, because it costs 3 less if you have 9 or more cards in your graveyard. So you play a cheap Hellraiser, you fill your graveyard with a bunch of cards, but namely Season of Weaving, which allows you to make 2 copies of the Hellraiser you just played. If you can hit 2 Seasons of Weavings with the Hellraiser copies that you create, you make 5 dragons, 5 4/4 flying dragons, and you can give them all haste with Bitter Reunion. You can swing in for lethal, and it's a super powerful, can be a super powerful combo. On top of that, there's a few other things you can hit. You can hit Chandra Hope's Beacon. There's a copy of Chandra Flame Shaper in the deck too, which is really nice because it can find and give you the mana to cast more dragons with the +2. You can copy dragons that are on the battlefield with the +1. And Chandra Hope's Beacon can double your Season of Weaving casts. It can also close out a game thanks to the -X. Like you can just finish opponents off and put on a ton of pressure by being able to, by like -X, use up an entire Chandra, cast a dragon, recast a Chandra, and then use it up again. Can be a lot of damage out of nowhere. There's a few other cards that are probably unfamiliar to most people who haven't seen this deck before. A lot of these cards, like, you know, Scorching Dragonfire, Unsummoned, Torch to Tower, 3 Steps Ahead, you're probably familiar with at this point. These two, I think, probably not so much. Ill-Timed Explosion serves as a board wipe in the deck. It helps you dig, it helps you discard, and it potentially wipes the board, which is all super useful stuff. As far as you're aware, I've yet to actually pull off the combo on stream. Right, so it's not that I've never pulled off the combo, Sam. It's that no opponent has ever allowed me to execute the combo. They just scoop. And that has happened once or twice, okay? The deck definitely, the combo is super strong, but it does not necessarily rely on the combo. I don't think, to win. Then there's also Brass's Tunnel Grinder, which I don't think I've seen played in any other deck. But it helps you fill your graveyard, and then if you can flip it, it is a super powerful discover land that just can bury your opponent in card advantage. And that's the main board. We'll talk about the sideboard in a sec, but Nithin, how did I do? Was that a reasonable explanation of what the deck does?
That was fairly good. I think you covered most of the main points. Yeah, most of the time you're trying to make up to 5 dragons. It's really nice that Hellraiser has exactly 4 power. It's pretty easy math. 4 times 5, 20. You're done. And then, Ill-Timed Explosion is really amazing. There's also the parts where you can, say, wipe the opponent's board without wiping your own, because you can discard something of a lesser mana value, which often comes up against like these smaller aggro decks. Also, like Tunnel Grinder, one of the biggest things is it gives you it's neutral on cards. However, it has like a passive threat where people want to prevent you from flipping it, so they have to spend a card on it. So now they have to spend mana on it, but you didn't lose any cards. So that always gives you a small advantage in those matchups. So it's really nice to leverage Brass's Tunnel Grinder because you can descend like very freely in this deck. Everything else is mostly interaction. Chandra 7 is also like just like a secret way of you can if you +1 on Hellraiser, you get a token with haste. So you could also just win without Bitter Reunion there, which I found to be useful a few times. So yeah, that's just some extra points, but I think you've covered the main idea of the deck, yeah.
Awesome. And so I do want to point out a couple of things. So when I was looking at the deck list, Moment of Truth struck me as an interesting choice, because I think something like Curate would put more cards into the graveyard. But I guess Moment of Truth, my guess is that's a choice because of Fairy Mastermind, right? Like, because Curate potentially fills the graveyard better, but Moment of Truth doesn't actually draw a card, so it's not as bad into a flashed in Fairy Mastermind. Is that the logic behind this card?
Well, so Curate, I have looked into it. The main idea behind Moment of Truth, well, Moment of Truth on face value without looking at number of cards you put in the graveyard is better, because you just look at more cards when you're selecting.
Right, yeah.
So Curate, you're looking at 2 cards. If you want to keep one, then you only bin 1 card extra. It's the same as Moment of Truth.
Yeah.
If you want to keep one of the cards. If you want to keep 2 of the cards, it's worse.
Yeah, okay.
So I guess that's some sort of flexibility there. I haven't I tested a little bit with it, but maybe if it I still haven't looked into if it gets you to the certain breakpoints faster, that maybe it could be worth. But I think Moment of Truth just having more selection, it's still very nice.
Okay. All right, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay. So Fairy Mastermind doesn't even come into the conversation.
Yeah, they're instant speed, so
yeah,
you can always just play it on the opponent's turn to draw 1 card.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. All right. Let's talk about the sideboard a little bit, and I do want to talk about some other main board considerations. But let's have a look at the sideboard first. So Ghost Vacuum and Soul Guide Lantern for the mirror match, and for anything else like Reanimator, the Simic Terror decks, Soul Guide Lantern can be pretty useful. So that's pretty self-explanatory. Couple of negates. A little bit more spot removal. A Braid is nice in games 2 and 3 because people often bring in Ghost Vacuum against you. So if the 3 damage side of a Braid is going to be at all useful, then often this is a really nice card to be able to bring in. Tidebinder, I think you're probably all familiar with. I think there's an argument for this to go in the main board. What do you think of that, Nithin? Did you ever test with this in the main?
I tested with 1 or 2. First thing is creatures are awkward in Hellraiser because you can't hit them off of the thing. But I think playing 1 or 2 creatures is fine. I've experimented with Horn Lockwhale, the Kiora Rising Tide,
Yeah.
2 copies of that. So it is fine to play a few creatures, but like you obviously don't want to go creature heavy. But other than that, this deck really wants to play at sorcery speed. So if you're holding up 3 mana to play Tashana's and you don't have a proactive play other than that, then it can be awkward if you don't get a trigger off and then you're just playing a 3 mana 3/2.
See.
And like the
Okay.
clock is not as relevant. Game 2, if you're bringing it in against Domain, it's a pretty good tempo swing. Where like if they play an Overlord and then you get to fizzle that trigger, and then it starts beating down a bit, it puts a little bit of pressure on them, and it's
Mm-hmm.
good there, which is why I have it in the sideboard. But I don't know if it's a main deck consideration.
Okay, all right, that makes sense. And you said something really interesting there, which is that the deck really wants to play at sorcery speed, because that is something I've been struggling with a ton. So I'm going to put a pin in that for a sec. We've got Lithomantic Barrage, hits Kaito, hits Beza, nice clean answers, mostly for Kaito. Pyroclasm, Dragonfire, a couple of Brotherhood Zens. Again, these are great against, like, to clear out ghost vacuums. They're also just good in the aggro matchups. And then you've got this Jace the Perfected Mind and Virtue of Knowledge, which seems a bit strange, the one-of copy of Virtue of Knowledge. You talked about this, Nithin, in the guide you wrote on the deck. But this is like a kind of alternate mode for the deck where you go all in on the mill plan, and you can use Vantress Visions to copy the Jace -5 and mill 30 cards instead. And if you have Chandra Hope's Beacon down, then you can Chandra copies the Vantress Visions and you get 3 triggers of Jace's -5, which is a mill of 45, which can just be a win on the spot. So
Yeah.
that's really cool. That's really interesting. So that comes in against the kind of deadly control decks.
Yeah, so for the longest time, I wasn't playing Jace. I thought that Jace didn't add to the board when you played him, so he was awkward to play right away. And when you played him, you wanted to win right away
Yeah.
because he doesn't add anything to the board. So I was playing Ral instead, and I was
Yeah.
playing more of a tempo game. So the idea was on 4 mana, this deck doesn't usually present a threat, and Domain doesn't usually have a threat. So it's like you tempo them out with Tishana's and Ral's, and you get down this early threat that they have to try to find a way to deal with and try to win that way. But I think that plan got worse since like a lot of Domain decks earlier after Foundations dropped were playing Authority of the Consoles. And also there's the Overlord of the Mistmores just making 2/2/1s does apply pressure on Ral. So I found the Jace plan to be much more effective. And I think it is a good plan. You don't want to slam, like you can slam Jace early to get a little bit of card advantage. But when you play Jace, you typically want to win the game the same turn against most decks.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to find Jace and Virtue in this deck because there's so much card selection, and you can just discard your entire hand, draw a new hand, see what you can find. So yeah, the plan has worked out pretty well.
Yes, and I can attest to that. You know, my success of the deck has been fleeting and limited, but I have won games with Jace, especially against like against the Simic Terror decks. They mill themselves so much, and then you can just go in for the lethal with Jason. It's been really nice. So let's talk about the list that I am playing. I have to say, I've been experimenting with the list because it hasn't really been working for me. But I think the last time I checked your list, you played something more like this. So I think you played an Elder Dragon War, which I cut and put in a Scorching Dragonfire instead because I was having so much trouble with the Dimir matchup and the Gruul aggro matchup, and Scorching Dragonfire is much better. Or it felt like it was much better into like an Enduring Curiosity. The cat has decided to join the conversation. He's running around. But the Elder Dragon War, I found that in the Gruul matchup, all they needed to do was have like one non-creature spell, and their prowess creatures could outgrow the 2 damage. It being 4 mana and sorcery speed made the board wipe. I found it really clunky. However, you and some other people in the Discord that you created for this deck have been raving about this card. Can you sell me on the Elder Dragon War?
Yeah, so I do like it as a one of. I did consider this card like way back when. It's a pretty old card. It's from Dominaria. So yeah, the 2 damage, my initial thoughts back like a few sets ago was that the 2 damage is not relevant enough. Like you want all 3 modes to be good for this card to be good. But recently, right, there's been a huge uptick on Convoke, primarily to beat Dimir. There's also the green-white decks, the blue-white decks, and there's also like it's also like in my experience pretty good against red and these like low toughness decks. Yeah, like the creatures can outgrow, but there are also times where it just comes down and just wipes their board. And you can and having that extra threat at the end of it is pretty nice where it just comes in and then you have a body and you're not 1 for 1 anymore.
Yeah.
Like if this trades for a few of their creatures and then a 4/4 comes in, that's a really good deal. So
That
yeah.
makes sense to me. That makes sense to me. And Sam, our resident green-white player, is saying screw Elder Dragon War, so that's a good sign. That's a good sign. If our green-white players in the chat don't like it, then that is a good sign. So, okay, so I would like to, because we're going to play a few games, and I think it makes sense to play the version of the deck that you think is best. What changes would you make now to this list as you see it?
I'd probably have the 4th Tunnel Grinder. I was convinced to play 4 Tunnel Grinders in the Discord, and I think I liked it a lot. So yeah, I've been jamming 4. And then also instead of the Scorching Dragonfire. And then also I just like a day ago cut the Mirex.
Okay.
It doesn't come up very often. There are matchups where it's really good, like into Dimir control or like very heavy control decks, and it has come up like a few times, but it also comes up on the other side where it just makes the mana worse.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So
What did you play instead of the Mirex?
I just played a mountain.
Okay. Cool. So is Fabled Passage worth it? Is 2 right? Because it's pretty good at being able to sort of fill your graveyard, find the land you want.
Yeah. So there's a dual purpose almost. It's for the for filling your graveyard, but it also descends for Tunnel Grinder.
Yes.
For pretty much free. Like you don't have to worry about it at all. You don't have to play any spells for it. So yeah, I've actually been playing 3 Fabled Passage and 2 Shivan Reefs.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. So 3 Fabled Passage. I've got the 2 Shivan Reefs already.
Oh, sorry. 1 sec. Let me check my deck list. Yeah.
I mean, you can ping it to me in Discord. We can get it up and have a look at it if you're all right with that.
Yeah, I think it's the same as what you have, except
Okay.
what? I have a 2/2. Oh, I'm only running 2 Cavern of Souls.
Okay. Do you know what? I can see that. Cavern of Souls has... I find 3 is excess.
3 is a lot, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. And then we'll up a mountain.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool. Okay, so that's the mana base sorted. Let's have a look at the sideboard. I'm kind of going... I'm finding I'm not using Soul Guide Lantern ever. I don't know. I mean, what changes would you make to this sideboard, if anything?
The sideboard is the same as mine. So like I've been like from the very start since Ghost Vacuum came out, I've been liking the Ghost Vacuum Soul Guide Lantern split. Mostly because like Ghost Vacuum comes down, but in a lot of matchups, it might just like B, too late. B, not enough. Like into Oculus, you want to exile their entire graveyard sometimes to like reduce their power and toughness of the gen. Like that matters.
Mm-hmm.
There's also the Simic Beanstalk deck where if you can actually reduce the cost reduction, which I mean Ghost Vacuum is largely useless in that regard.
Yeah, they
So I like to
outpace it
have
real
this sort
quick.
of yeah, I like to have this sort of like graveyard nuke. And I've seen a lot of decks online also adopt this strategy recently where they play the split as well.
Yeah.
So I think it's good.
Okay. All right. All right. Okay. So let's leave the sideboard as it is too. Um, first time chatter, can't pronounce your username. I'm gonna say Hugh. I'm just gonna cheat and I'm gonna say Hugh. Hugh says back on 3 steps ahead. So yeah, I saw you talking about this card. It does a lot of the stuff that the deck wants to do. It can be a counter spell. It can create a token of a dragon. It can draw and then start to fill your graveyard. So it does a lot of good stuff. But a little while ago, you said in a post somewhere that you felt like 0 counter spells was the way to go, and you mentioned earlier that the deck really does want to play at sorcery speed. So where are we on 3 steps ahead?
So 3 steps ahead is a really good card. Right now, the hardest part about playing this card is getting the 2 blue early in the game to have it actually be a counter spell.
Yeah.
But I think having 1 copy where like it's sort of just like insurance almost is nice. It has a lot of utility. You can always just cycle it. And like you could play it, you could not play it. I think it's fine either way. I've just been playing it recently.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah, I'm always changing my deck list just to see how things feel.
Yeah.
So yeah, so this is what I'm currently running, but
So let's talk about a few other cards that are sort of considerations for the deck. So we mentioned Kiora. The nice thing about Kiora is she comes down early and she can fill your graveyard. If she comes down late and you can give her haste with a Bitter Reunion, you can swing with her straight away and just make the 8/8. But Kiora is not currently in the deck list. Why does she not make the cut?
some people like her a lot. For me, the biggest problem is you play her and she just gets killed right away.
Yeah.
And that's not something I think is good enough where you draw 2, discard 2, you're down a card. I would rather just play something that's harder to interact with and doesn't lose me a card, like Tunnel Grinder. Cura is still really good, but like the ideal thing you can do is you play Bitter Reunion on 2, Tunnel Grinder on 3, Cura on 4 with haste, and if they're tapped out, you just get an 8/8. And that's like the ideal scenario. But what I found is a lot of decks just have open mana. Like Dimir, you play against Dimir, you're never getting a hasty Cura in. The haste doesn't even matter at all, because they always just have removal up or they have the flash tap guy. So I have not been liking Cura in that regard, but sometimes she just wins games. So she's definitely a consideration.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. A lot of that makes sense. Are there any other cards that are kind of considerations for the deck? I know Horned Lockwhale is a card that people talk about. What's your take on this?
It's a card that I think is playable for sure. Obviously the first idea for adopting this card was when Screaming Nemesis came out, and like the deck like just started killing, because everyone was running Screaming Nemesis in burn decks, and then
Yeah.
you just had no way of stopping the damage,
Mm-hmm.
and then you would just die. So Horned Lockwhale was for that, but also it has the flip side where it's a 6/6 Ward 2 body they can just flash in. It's really good off of discovering off of Tekutlan at instant speed, which is really nice. Also, you can just copy it with Season of Weaving. I've won with an army of whales before. It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, the downside of this card is like the 2-mana Lagoon Breach can be clunky sometimes, where if they're not attacking on that specific on turn 2, you just can't remove the creature. And
Yeah.
if they play around it, like say they have a Duress and they know you have the Lagoon Breach in hand, then it can be awkward if you ever want to try to get rid of a Shieldred or something like that.
Hmm.
So instead, I don't. I'm not playing it currently, but obviously it's also still a good option.
Okay, all right, and that would be kind of in place of these two unsummons.
Um, I am still not sure if Unsummon should be cut, but I would play it alongside currently.
Alongside the two unsummons, yeah. So unsummon can be early interaction, can also protect your dragon, right?
Yeah,
And allow you to just play it again if you miss. If you get to a game where you have like 20 plus cards in your graveyard and you play a dragon and you just whiff, then being able to unsummon it back and probably do it again that same turn is a nice option to have. Okay,
yeah,
all right. We've talked enough about the deck, I think. I would like to jump into some games. How do you feel about that?
yeah. Let's go for it.
Okay, all right. So we'll jump into a game. So Nithin is going to effectively backseat me for the time being. So I'm going to, as quickly as possible, try and explain what I want to do. And then Nithin is going to jump in and tell me why I'm stupid. So let's go. We're playing best of three. And I don't know about you, Nithin, but I am nervous about... I know I play Magic in front of people several times a week, but I've never been coached. I'm a little bit nervous about, like, having a coach in the back, but I am looking forward to it. Usually I have Sam in the chat backseating me at a much slower pace anyway, so this is a step up from that.
Yeah, let's just win. Let's go for it.
Okay, all right, so we're on the play. This is a good hand. This is a keep.
Yeah, that's key. You have the early moment of truth or the kill spell slow.
Yes. So this is probably Simic Terror or some kind of Overlord's deck. It's an Overlord's deck.
Yeah.
So I would probably Bitter Reunion discard the Season of Weaving here.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. You can discard either Season or Chandra.
Or Chandra, yeah.
Either works.
I think Season makes more sense because it enables... Well, I guess both are good, right? I don't know.
I think discarding Chandra is technically better.
Yeah?
Just because Season has like some play where you bounce their entire board more often. Chandra hardcast is not very good in this matchup.
Makes sense. Like, I was thinking discard the Season because the bounce is not super good against, like, the 2/1s. Like, the tokens.
Yeah, it's not good against the 2/1s. But say, like, Zur comes down. You know Zur is coming down. What do? Your only out is Season bounce everything.
Yeah, okay. So I say just Babel Passage and go here.
Yeah.
And we can Fires of Victory Azur, which it would be a mistake for them to play right now. So this is just going to be Moment of Truth. What are we looking for? Are we looking for a Tunnel Grinder or another, like, a way to draw more cards?
Yeah, I think you're looking for mostly card selection.
So I'll go get a mountain. And what cards am I looking for in this matchup? Actually, maybe I shouldn't ask you questions. So what I want to do here, I think, with the cards we have in hand, I want to take the Thundering Falls in hand and put this in the graveyard.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So Thundering Falls in hand, Chandra in the graveyard, Island back in the library. So they haven't played like a Beanstalk or anything. I'm wondering... I mean, I do want to just play the Thundering Falls.
Yeah.
And then go, I think. Season of Weaving in the bin.
Yeah, that sounds good. lots of payoffs early.
Yeah.
So
Uh-huh.
we just need to find Hellraiser soon.
So I have
you're
no
at 5
idea.
cards.
I wonder what is going on in their hand. They have not done a whole lot this game. They didn't play a Beanstalk. There's the Overlord of the Hauntwoods.
Yeah, they just have a lot of top lands, I guess.
Yeah. So I'm wondering what's in their hand. If there was no Beanstalk, if their first good play was Overlord on 3, I bet like their hand has to be more compelling, I think. So I would probably, I think there's probably a Zur in hand. That's my guess.
Yeah.
In which case, I kind of want to leave up Fires of Victory to hit the Zur. Well, I guess that's what we would do anyway, right?
Well, you could leave up Fires of Victory. Just if they don't play Zur and they just advance with like Mistmores or something, then it might not be optimal. I would just slam the Sustaining Sauna.
Okay, that makes sense. And actually, we can't really do anything to the Zur anyway. They'd have enough mana to just go land, Zur, activate, and then we could deal with it on our turn anyway.
You could double Fires to prevent the trigger. That is an option.
Ah, okay.
But since we don't have information on what their plays are, I would personally just slip Sustaining Sauna. Because
So
then it
I'm
also
going
makes them
to
have to interact with something.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I don't think I would have made that choice. So that's interesting. But that makes a lot of sense. So with this Tunnel Grinder in hand, are we looking to just discard all of these cards and try and find a Hellraiser?
Yeah. So you're not worried about trigger against game 1. So in this matchup, you just want to go fast. Here you also maybe just want to dig or actually I guess you have the Roaring Furnace on the board anyway.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we can Hellraiser and Roaring Furnace. Am I gonna discard all of these cards? I think I probably would.
Yeah, I think you just discard your entire hand. You might want to tap the blue.
Oh yeah, good shout. Good shout. But we are going to Roaring Furnace. Okay. So Roaring Furnace, remove the Overlord. We have a Hellraiser in hand for next turn.
Yeah.
Is there an argument? No, let's just do this. I was going to say, is there an argument to play a land, play another Tunnel Grinder, and discard this other Season of Weaving?
I think you're good for now. You kind of just want to
Torch.
make sure they don't have
I don't really want to draw
decks.
this. Does this go in the graveyard?
Yeah, that goes in the graveyard.
So next time we have double Hellraiser. Well, we have 2 Hellraisers. And I think there's enough high value cards down here that we just want to slam one.
Yeah, Cabbage Twin. I think, yeah, we could have Hellraiser. But maybe it's nice to Hellraiser with mana open for Bitter Reunion, or like 2 tries with Hellraiser.
Mm-hmm.
It's also nice.
Right, we have enough cards in the library that if the first Hellraiser completely whiffs, then the second one can hit.
Has a much higher chance.
Yeah. Okay, this is a good sign, right? Because they are going to be tapped out for our turn.
Yeah. Well, they might have 1 Leyline Binding. Oh, okay, yeah, they're tapped out.
Yeah, they are tapped out. So we have a chance here to just win on the spot.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, okay. So I'm just going to drop this mountain. Season of Weaving.
Nice. Perfect.
And that should be it.
Yeah.
Like that should that really should just wrap it up.
Because you do also have removal in the graveyard for the Zer.
So we take Chandra Flame Shaper here.
Yeah, Chandra Flame. Or you could take Chandra Hope's Beacon too, because it'll double the second season. Either one is lethal, I believe.
Okay.
Oh, actually, Chandra Flame Shaper is better here.
Can copy and hit the other season. Yeah, you can copy a dragon. And then we're guaranteed to hit the other season.
Yeah, like if you high roll and you hit the season there.
Oh god,
Chandra Hope's Beacon.
We didn't hit it.
It's okay. I guess you just haste and send it. That's unfortunate.
That is so unlucky. Was it the last card in the graveyard? Okay, but we're guaranteed to hit it next turn with our next Hellraiser if that is relevant. If the opponent deals with this board.
So if their plan is just to slam Atraxa, you just win. Because Chandra Flame Shaper can just kill it.
Can just deal with it, yeah. I can't believe the first time we execute the combo on stream is our first game with Nithin.
Well, usually domain players don't tap out like this. I feel. Yeah, like the sorcery speed, Roaring Furnace, like the Leyline Binding on the Roaring Furnace was pretty sketch from the opponent.
Yeah,
I feel
I
most
agree. I was pretty
domain players would play that sequence much better.
So what I can do here is simply bounce everything with Season of Weaving, and then but I won't bounce my 2 tokens. So then I can just swing and win.
Yeah, on the nose.
Because they're tapped out again. So I can simply Season of Weaving and do something like this. Yeah, okay, sweet. Okay, sideboarding. One of the advantages of this deck, Sam, is that many opponents haven't played against it. So against Domain, I think the Jace plan. Oh shit, what happened? Did I just...
Oh, they're just done, I think.
Oh, they conceded. Okay. I thought I might have accidentally submitted the deck without making any changes. Okay, alright. Should we jump into another one?
Sure, I'll be less backseaty. That's all. Or at least I'll try to. Okay,
well, no, I think I should probably ask you less questions and let you jump in. But please do jump in. Right,
okay. I will jump in.
I would also... So Sam in chat is encouraging you to be more backseaty. I would encourage you to do the same. I think this is a keep.
Yeah, that looks good.
I'm going to lead on the Thundering Falls. I'm looking for land. I am going to bin that Season of Weaving. It's a really nice hit to get that in the graveyard early. So now, well, I'll just wait and Moment of Truth end step. Opponent is on Esper. Oh, okay, so it's this Esper control tempo-y deck that I've seen around. I don't feel like I need to kill this thing right now.
I think it's okay to just Moment of Truth here.
Yeah.
Just be mana efficient. You can also just Roaring Furnace Sorcery Speed on your turn.
So this deck does run Kaito. So I think I want to just take this land here and put the Roaring Furnace in the graveyard.
Okay. Yeah, you take the land for sure.
And then, yeah, Roaring Furnace in the graveyard because it's the better hit with the dragon later if you want, like, because you potentially you can play the removal spell or the Steaming Sauna for free, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds good. This decision I don't think matters too much, but it could be pretty nice to hit Steaming Sauna.
So there's the Spire Bluff Canal. I'm going to hold up 3 steps ahead, hold up Moment of Truth, hold up Torch the Tower.
You could potentially just land the Roaring Furnace and hold up Torch, because if this is Esper Pixie, they're probably just playing a lot of creatures, and if you have the Roaring Furnace down and they play like the one nightmare creature, I forget what it's called, Fear of Missing, Fear of something, the one that bounces.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I know which one you mean. The 2/3 that bounces a creature.
Yeah, you could bargain away the Roaring Furnace to kill that.
Okay,
I'm not sure
alright.
if this deck runs Kaido. I know there's like various versions. It's a fairly new deck.
Hmm.
Yeah, Fear of Missing Out. Oh no, Fear of Missing Out is the red one.
Yeah, FOMO is the red one. It's
Additional combat.
I do describe everything as control temporally, but that's what I mean. I know it's like we call it Dimir mid-range, and it is a very creature-heavy deck, but it's more like Flash. Do you know what? I don't know, Sam. Shut up, Sam. Who invited you here anyway?
Interesting opt. That is not what I expected.
I'm sorry, Sam. I need you here. You're my #1 chatter. Love you.
Yeah, it's Fear of Isolation.
Fear of Isolation. So, I'm gonna just play out the land and pass the turn. What am I afraid of from them? I'm afraid of them maybe flashing in a... Like, they might flash in a Mastermind. They might just go land and then Kaito a Curiosity. We have answers to all of those.
Yeah, I don't know what their deck is really right now, so
yeah.
I can't really make any informed decisions. If I knew what the deck was, I would be able to...
So, I just want to counter this. Right?
Yeah, countering that seems reasonable.
Or I could not counter it and wipe the board. Is that better?
I think you can just counter it. I think either works, but you could also just use Ill-Timed Explosion to draw 2. Cabbage. There typically isn't too much draw go. Like, usually you're probably wanting to slam your Bitter Reunion. Like, you have these, like right now in Standard, right? There's a lot of like sorcery speed looting spells. If you were playing like all the instant speed, like how Jin does, I think playing more counter spells makes sense. But if you're like the tension between playing Brass's Tunnel Grinder and 3 steps ahead is fairly high.
So here,
other counter spells. Yeah.
I'm kind of thinking if they play something like an Overlord, I like having Ill-Timed Explosion and Season of Weaving in hand to wipe the board. I'm thinking of just Reef and Open the Sauna.
That's also a good plan. They could also just kill it. My gut instinct would be to just draw 2 with Ill-Timed, but I think both work. Like, I don't think opening Steaming Sauna is a terrible plan.
Let's go with your gut instinct, Nithin. That's why we've got you here, right? So decline to discard.
Play the Reef.
Sorry?
First. Oh, I guess it's fine.
Should I have discarded 2?
No.
Okay.
I was just saying, you might want to play the Shivan Reef first in case, because you can hold up Torch the Tower without taking 1 damage. But that's like 1 damage. It's not a big deal.
Right. Okay. I see. Yeah. Is there any is there any reason to maybe discard a land and a season there just to fill up the graveyard?
No. You want
just
to
a
have
waste.
the card advantage for sure.
I just want to torch this thing now.
Yeah.
They might have like a Sheltered by Ghosts, but that's fine if they do. So I could just Season of Weaving and draw 5, or I could just open the Sauna.
That honestly sounds good as well. I think just drawing 5
even if they
is a
counter,
really
I don't really
strong
care,
play.
right?
Yeah, like, yeah, you don't care too much.
They're saying GG. I don't really know what that means. Oh, I think they're just spamming emotes, which is fair. Like, I'm taking a lot longer than even I usually would, but that's fine. Okay, cool. Draw a bunch of cards. We have a full grip. I'm going to drop off this Spire Bluff Canal. And we could just Dragon next turn. We've got 2 seasons down there.
How many cards do you have? Yeah, 8. So
8 cards, yeah.
9.
Mm-hmm. And we have the Unsummon to protect the dragon. So, yeah. They might Leyline Binding or something. But yeah, okay, should we just go for a dragon hit?
Yeah, so I think they might have this town ain't big enough. That's my guess. But you don't really care. Like, that just gives you back the dragon. They probably don't have hard removal for that because they're playing all these support spells like Nowhere to Run for this town ain't big enough.
Could be, okay. It resolved. So if they're very likely to have interaction, should I ill-timed explosion? Maybe discard something and take the extra value by killing the otter?
I think you just always, I think I always ill-timed explosion here, but I just draw 2 and see if it's worth discarding or not.
So I could discard a Torch the Tower or a Moment of Truth and an island and just clear the otter.
Yeah, the only thing is they might be able to pump the otter to 2 toughness. So I would, if I'm going to discard, I would discard the Moment of Truth.
Okay, but you wouldn't discard.
I might not discard because I mean I think you're just winning. Like the opponent's not doing anything. It's
Yeah.
already. I think this game is over, effectively.
Sorry. I'm gonna... Okay, alright, so what? Just... I mean, do I Tunnel Grinder here? I don't think I think I might Tunnel Grinder here.
You can just hold up mana, or you could Tunnel Grinder. I think it's fine either way. Yeah, this game's probably over.
Okay. I'll drop the island. I'll take the 1.
You could block. I don't see them pumping to 4.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
if they do try, you can always just torch it.
That
or
is
they might
fair.
be trying to hit it with a Nowhere to Run. That might be their play.
So they are going to get back their Opt, and that's what they're going to do with this turn. I might unsummon my dragon if this is their play.
I think it's. I think you Moment of Truth first to see.
Because we've got 2 seasons down there, so Moment of Truth and then unsummon dragon.
Yeah. Typically I wouldn't be so aggressive with my unsummons, but like the opponent isn't doing anything, and their deck is supposed to be like lower to the ground, and at this stage of the game, I think it's fine to be aggressive just to go for the win.
So I'll put the Torch in hand, ill-timed in the graveyard. Demo field can be shuffled away. Yeah, we've got 2 seasons down there. Okay, so what would you do in this spot? I want to unsummon the dragon and then cast it.
Yeah, I think you can be aggressive with the unsummon.
Because they're tapped out, I think just flooding the board with dragons is going to be hard for them to recover from, even with all of this town ain't big enough so that they can muster, you know? There's 1.
But yeah, just saying, you typically shouldn't be this aggressive with your unsummons. You should only do it in response to removal most of the time.
I could pay 3 and make another dragon.
Yeah, you could. I don't think you need to.
Just ill-timed.
1 sec. You can look at the graveyard real quick. Let me take a look.
I have no way to give these dragons haste, so I guess it doesn't matter making the extra one. So I'm good.
Yeah, you could make the extra dragon, or you could just ill-timed to dig for the Bitter Reunion, because
Yeah.
if you create another dragon here with 3 mana, then you won't be able to play Bitter Reunion and sack it.
Should I discard a...
Yeah, you can discard a
Anything?
Tunnel Grinder here.
Yeah, right. Deal 3, and then I'm more likely to... I mean, I might discard 2.
Yeah,
Hopefully...
you have to discard 2.
Yeah, I hit 1 and then find a Bitter Reunion. So there's the
It does lower your
season.
chances of hitting the second season,
Yeah.
but it works out, so.
And these 2 dragons hit the Tunnel Grinder, I hit the Reunion, and then I win the game.
Yeah, so discard your entire hand, and hopefully that should draw it.
I mean, this is pretty sick. There's a Bitter Reunion.
Nice.
We don't need to do this now.
Yeah, you just decline.
But we can just submit
Yeah, like if you don't
0.
want to cast a spell, you can just decline.
Yeah.
That's useful if you're like decking out and you have a Tunnel Grinder, because Tunnel Grinder forces you to draw at least 1 card. Or you just want to short circuit because like the game's over and you already know it's over. You don't want to force the opponent to wade through everything.
So we didn't see a Kaito, we didn't see an Enduring Curiosity. We did see Storm Chaser's talent. I don't really know how to sideboard against this deck. Maybe against Overlord of the Mistmoors, the cheap sweepers are worth it. Against Storm Chaser's talent, Overlord of the Mistmoors.
We saw the Pixie.
Oh yeah,
So
we saw the
definitely
Pixie.
playing like a version of the Tatabe deck. So Pyroclasm is good for sure.
And then by extension, is Brotherhood's End good too?
Yeah, I think I would just sideboard in the Brotherhood's End as well, and the Lithomantic Barrage. I don't think you need much more than that.
And so against this deck, well, let's see. They play Storm Chaser's talent. I mean, we didn't really see enough. But I think maybe some of the cheaper spot removal can go. Like maybe just 4 Torch the Towers can go. They're not likely to run Deadly Cover Up. So I don't need to...
Torch the Tower is useful enough that I would keep that in. I think the 3 steps can go. That's
okay. What about Unsummon? Just because in this matchup, there's like bouncing their stuff's usually not very good, right?
Well, Unsummon has a little bit of extra value because it's also just 1 mana removal for the Otter token, which is what they might try to replay over and over again. So it's not that bad, but I can see cutting Unsummon completely.
I can see cutting 2 Tunnel Grinders too, because we've added the 2 Brotherhood's End.
I don't think you need to cut the Tunnel Grind. I don't care to cut the Tunnel Grinders here because that's like our fastest starts and our best card selection. Like it pairs well with sideboard cards, technically.
So what would you cut?
I can see cutting the Chandra Flame Shaper and the Unsummoned.
Okay, we're playing 61 card. We kept the Flame Shaper in.
But
that's fine.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
Sanka user, sorry, I haven't actually set up the deck command yet, I'm afraid. My bad. I will do that. We'll have a look at the deck afterwards. If you remind me when we're in between games, then we can have a look. But yeah, I haven't set up the deck command yet. My webcam border is off kilter. That makes a lot of sense because I accidentally moved it earlier. There we go. That should be better. This, I would mulligan this hand.
Yeah. I think this hand can be mulliganed for sure.
This is a keep, and I'm probably gonna put back the... Maybe the Chandra goes back?
Yeah, the Chandra or the Season. I think either. I think Chandra going back is better, because you might want to discard the Season over Chandra.
Hopeless Nightmare. So I'm going to discard the Season here.
Yeah.
There's the Chandra. We made the right choice. Speed on the mountain.
I feel like that happens way too often, where you put back a card into exacting card.
It does. So what we do against Rest in Peace is just try and hit all of our land drops and play our big spells and overpower them that way.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, they haven't played any creatures out. They probably have some counter spells in hand. Spire Bluff Canal seems fine here. Cavern of Souls probably is useful. Is Cavern of Souls? Yeah, we've got one in hand anyway.
I don't think you care for Cavern of Souls, but Demolition Field is interesting. It gives you something to do, and their mana isn't particularly great.
Okay. Let's do that.
That is also consideration. I haven't really thought too much about that, because I would need to look at their actual deck list to see what basics they're running, to know how effective Field of Ruin is at ruining their mana.
Yeah, I mean, we have nothing else to do. Shall I just nuke this Concealed Courtyard?
Yeah, you could, honestly. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Yeah, Cabbage, there's nothing you can run, really. But, that's just a part of being an Izzet. There is no enchantment removal, but you can just do other things to try to beat it. Typically, there are, graveyard decks have other paths, usually to victory. This one is easy because all it did was make your Hellraiser worse, and now you can't cheat on mana, so you have to play a fair game.
They did discard a Season of Weaving, and then exile it, but now we just hit our land drops. We hit our land drops, we play our big spells, and they have to deal with that. They have one less card. So yeah, I haven't actually struggled too much against Rest in Peace and stuff like that. So we Fabled Passage and then Ill-Timed Explosion. Are we worried about counter magic here?
I don't think it matters here. If they're countering this, that's fine.
Then they're not countering Chandra in 2 turns.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get a blue hit. We have another passage in hand. So yeah, okay. Yeah, I reckon they have they probably brought in Disdainful Stroke if they have it. I don't want to discard anything here, obviously. So now we have Tunnel Grinder for next turn. How does Tunnel Grinder fit in with Rest in Peace down? I guess I can throw away anything useless.
Yeah, anything that's useless. If you want to dig into the deck for an answer.
Okay, so 2 options. I could play Steaming Sauna. I could play Roaring Furnace and Torch the Tower and clear these 2 ones. But I could just Tunnel Grinder and... Well, what am I looking for?
I think you just play the Roaring Furnace and hold up the Torch.
Okay.
Because if you want to bring down Chandra, you want to make sure they have only 2 creatures max, so that Chandra can clear the board.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I think if I were left to my own devices, I might have just Steaming Sauna'd there. Which, again, not saying at all that is correct. So, hold up the Torch, not play out the Tunnel Grinder.
Yeah. Because next turn, your plan is to probably just slam Chandra. And if they, play another Mistmoors, then it would be awkward if they're left over with a 1-1, or 2-1.
Okay.
that can potentially kill Chandra. And the only problem with slamming Steaming Sauna is if they just have this town ain't big enough, you drew one card, but then they bounced your 5-mana play. So,
oh, Hugh.
like,
sorry, dude, I don't know if I'm saying your name right at all. I don't know how to say it. I've gone with Hugh because it's a somewhat human-sounding name that is similar to your username. But yeah, they did fail the basics check.
oh, I didn't even notice that. Sorry.
Nor did I. Nor did I, but they did fail the basics check, which is pretty brutal. So I'm just going to snap this off. So, am I just slamming Chandra and +1 here?
I think you just slam Chandra, but then I would just +2.
Okay. +2 and then pass.
Yeah. +1 is I only use if I'm like desperate. Because
I'm getting
there are a lot of
I'm getting a
misses.
read on a counter spell here. Are we worried about that at all? Are you worried about that at all?
That is, yeah, maybe it could be a counterspell or it could be a this town ain't big enough. Either are pretty good into you just slamming Chandra, so maybe it could be just better to draw 2 or Steaming Sauna. But I'm guessing, I think it might just be better to just ill-timed draw 2.
Yeah. I don't want to put you off of what you would do. I don't want to be convincing you.
Yeah, I do understand the. I do think it's a read on the counterspell, probably.
Yeah.
Or even if it's a this town ain't big enough, it's not great if they just bounce your Chandra, which you just played for 6 mana, and they bounce their own Overlord. It's a pretty big tempo hit, so yeah, I think you just ill time for 2.
Okay.
And draw 2.
No need to discard.
They're probably gonna bounce their own stuff. They have
Well, to do that now, they would need to bounce my Roaring Furnace, right? Oh, Scroll
they could
Shift.
bounce 2 of their own Scroll Shift.
Yeah, Scroll Shift. So that's interesting. And I'm feeling like I would love to have an ill-timed explosion in my hand right
That is true. I did not expect the Scroll Shift.
now. Okay, 6 mana. No, 7 mana. So do I go for Brass's Tunnel Grinder into ill-timed explosion? Try and wipe the board? Is that my only out?
Okay, so you can take a safe, like a save play, not really safe. Okay, so you have 2 options. You can play out the land, play a Chandra, -1 on 2 of the creatures, and then you have a bounce spell for 2 of your other creatures. That's an option.
Oh yeah,
But
okay.
once
I
again,
see.
it runs into counterspell. But if they have a counterspell anyway, you just lose.
Yeah.
So I think you can just slam the Chandra, and if they have it, they have it.
Okay, I like that. I like that a lot. So we want to unsummon the Overlord
Yeah,
and one of the creatures.
but I would just hold up the unsummon, because they might have
Yeah.
another scroll shift. In which case, that would be a pretty big blowout.
Yeah, okay, Overlords plus Scroll Shift. I knew this was a deck. It's actually not one that I've played yet. Played against yet. But I did know...
I've seen Scroll Shift run in Domain. I've never seen it in like an Esper delve.
Hey Maya, how you doing? Yeah, there's the stroke. I did think they had a stroke. So this is just game, right? Yeah.
Yeah. That's just game. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, Scroll Shift hit us out of nowhere. Negates then, possibly?
Here's the thing. If we like look at it like retroactively, I guess, if you slammed the Chandra, they would have been forced to disdainful stroke it earlier.
Yeah.
In which case they couldn't Scroll Shift, but obviously we didn't have that information, so that's not something we can predict.
Okay.
Okay.
So now that we know that they're kind of Esper overlords, that they've got Rest in Peace, and that they're a Scroll Shift deck, any changes? Would we bring in Lithomantic Barrage to just cleanly answer a Zer?
The sideboarding looks like it's been reset.
Oh yeah, it does.
Interesting. But yeah, let's try. I think we had the Lithomantic before, but Lithomantic obviously doesn't deal with the Overlord.
Yeah.
But
so
I think
what we did before was Pyroclasm, 2 Brotherhood's End, cut the Flame Shaper, which I want to talk about after this game. Why cut the Flame Shaper? And then I think we were going to cut 2 unsummons. Is that? Do you think that's right here? Oh, you said to cut 3 steps.
Yeah. 3 steps. I guess you can. Yeah, you can just cut 1 unsummon here.
So.
Or you could. Yeah.
Let's get into this game. But then I do definitely, after this game, I want to talk about that sideboarding, because those definitely are not the decisions that I would have made. I would love to know, guys, in chat, what decisions you would have made, and I really want to dig into, Nithin, why you made those choices with the sideboard. Okay, this is a keep. We have a removal spell, we have Moment of Truth. We're probably going to end up having to potentially discard these dragons, but that's fine. This is still a keep.
Yeah. That's still a keep.
We'll leave on the Fabled Passage. I'm going to go get a mountain and then just hold up Moment of Truth next turn. Maya, we can watch Arcane tonight, yes. Nithin, have you seen Arcane?
I have. I did watch the full season. I loved it, so...
It's...
glowing
recommendation. It's an incredible show. Maya is my younger sister. We have not watched it yet. So, yeah, we're going to do that. No spoilers. No spoilers. Anyone in chat, we don't want any spoilers for Arcane. But we're going to rewatch Season 1 and then move on to Season 2. Which I'm looking forward to, because I've not seen Season 2 yet, and I've heard it's good. Heard good things. So, they're struggling for land. I think. I... maybe just take the Chandra here. We've got 2 lands in hand.
You could also bin the Chandra.
Oh, yeah, of course. They don't have Rest in Peace down yet. I think they're going to find it, but do you think bin the Chandra, take the mountain?
I think for now, binning the Chandra is fine. Just take the mountain.
Yeah, my brain is still in game 2. Bitter Reunion's nice.
Yeah, for sure.
I think probably I'm just discarding a mountain or the island.
I think the island.
I think the island too. That is.
Yeah, this deck is very much more a red deck, flashing blue.
Okay. Yeah, sweet. Spy Bluff Canal 1 turn too late. But fine. Yeah, so they struggled a little bit to. Oh. So, I do want to just go for the Tunnel Grinder here.
Yeah, just discard everything but the 2 Hellraisers. Yeah, I think that's correct.
Yeah, can't play around a spell stutter or anything like that, so I think we just go for it. So Sam's sideboard decision would be to switch to a green-white aggro deck. Very funny, Sam. Heard aggro player. Yes,
So
yeah,
I
I think
should be able to Hellraiser.
I like this because either we Hellraiser or they desperately spend all their resources trying to find Rest in Peace. Either way, it means they're not doing anything really proactive, pushing forward their game plan. They're just trying to answer ours, which doesn't feel like a bad spot for us to be in. I think our opponent's a little bit mad because of how long we've taken to make some of these decisions, but
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Joe, you're on stream though. There's the negate. So we'll just pass. Yeah, I think we've got to work through those negates. They've got to, like, we're not far off of 9 in the graveyard. We're not far off of 6 lands. So they've got to answer that as another Tunnel Grinder. So I'm going to play the land out first. I don't think it's likely they have, like, spell stutter. Sorry?
I wouldn't play the land out because they definitely don't have spell stutter.
Yeah. Okay, alright. No, that was a good point, and we would have got an extra card in the bin. That is a bad play for me. Yeah, I did it just
fine.
in case there was a spell stutter. I wanted to play around it, but we haven't seen one yet.
So I'm guessing if they're playing a removal spell of that kind, it would be the one that counters a spell unless they pay 3. In which case you can't play around that anyway.
Right. And if we'd made the play that you said, if we'd have discarded the land, we would have 9 in the graveyard next turn.
Well, you will have 9 anyway because you can sack the Bitter Reunion right now.
Oh, is that worth it, do you think?
Yeah, to get to 9 and then slam Hellraiser is good. You can also just slam it for 6 here. Or honestly, I think I would feel more comfortable having the torch up.
Because
so
they could have deadly cover up.
I don't think this deck would run deadly cover up. If they do, it's a pretty good gotcha, but I wouldn't play around deadly cover up in this matchup.
Okay, so sack the reunion, play a dragon.
Yeah.
That's very interesting, yeah. I can totally see the logic, but that's not the play I would have made. Because I would have been too eager to hang on to the value of hasting a dragon in.
If you combo off, you're almost certainly able to find the reunion whenever you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could have followed up with a second dragon on this turn, had you stacked the Bitter Reunion the turn before, but that's, I think this is completely fine still.
So I'll just discard the Spire Bluff here.
Yeah. Their hand is very controlling.
Yeah, they've had Negate, Disdainful Stroke. They might have another one. Do we go for the Hellraiser? Or do we Bitter Reunion first?
Yeah. I just go for the Hellraiser.
So they've got 4 mana up. They might be looking to... They might have a Negate, which couldn't hit the Hellraiser. So I just take Bitter Reunion.
Yeah, for sure. You want to discard the Mountain
Okay.
to trigger Descend for Tunnel Grinder.
Right, yeah, okay. And again?
Yeah, I think you can. I would keep the Chandra though, now.
Yeah, keep the... So, Bitter Reunion, discard a Torch to Tower, give the Dragon haste and swing.
You don't need to give the Dragon haste this turn. I think 4 damage doesn't really matter too much. You could, you want to slam Chandra maybe next turn. So if they play a creature, you might just want to torch it. You could also give it haste. I think that's not that bad.
Okay, get lost on the dragon, that's fine. So we will...
Yeah, and they also have removal, so I guess that was not even an option. So.
Yeah. Cool, they're going to bounce the Tunnel Grinder. We'll discard a torch.
Okay.
Should I play out this Cavern of Souls or keep it to discard to a Hopeless Nightmare?
I think you can play it out.
If we play it out, we have the option of Tunnel Grinder and Eldragon War next turn.
Or, yeah, or you have the option of holding up Torch with Chandra. Either works.
Okay.
But I think actually you could just sandbag it.
How do you mean? Just keep it in hand. Yeah, play it next turn. Okay.
I think both are valid options. It really depends on what's on the top of your deck. If you had a land on top, then...
So, I think I'm discarding the torch here.
Yeah, I can see the torch going or the Tunnel Grinder.
I'm gonna discard the torch.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe it's a bit too late. We have too few cards in hand for Tunnel Grinder to do its best work. Plus, they are
I'm usually a
deck.
fan of keeping interaction.
Okay, so I think what I can do here is Chandra and force my way through their counter spells by just playing big stuff every turn.
Yeah. Because there's no chance for them to scroll shift a Mistmores if it's not on the field.
Yeah. So we could even add 2 mana and Tunnel Grinder, and I wouldn't discard anything to the Tunnel Grinder though.
Yeah, same.
Because now they have to answer the Tunnel Grinder, they have to answer the Chandra, they've got, like, if they do commit anything to the board, we can just Season of Weaving. So they have a very controlling hand, but we have Haymaker after Haymaker, so I feel okay about the spot we're in. So it looks like they might have another Get Lost or something. Yeah, there it is.
So yeah, now that we're seeing their deck more, I think sideboarding in all the extra sweepers might have been the wrong choice. They're clearly shifting to a very different version from like typical Orzhov Pixie.
Yeah. Yeah, they have transformed from a very creature-based deck to a full-on control deck.
Okay, if they do just tap out, you can just... Oh, I guess they tapped out on your turn, never mind.
Yeah, that was all
Yeah,
at
just the
instant
brother
speed.
this turn.
I think I keep the Season of Weaving and try and draw 5 next turn.
Yeah.
Because if they have Disdainful Stroke or Negate here, then that was happening anyway.
Yeah.
We weren't gonna beat that either way. So just draw a bunch of cards.
Yeah.
Okay. The game plan has completely changed.
Okay, well,
quite-
I'm really happy that resolved. They gave me a little stressful.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. But then drawing 5 here should mean that, like, even if they find and play Rest in Peace now, we should be really far ahead. Should I Bitter Reunion here? Discard
Yeah,
the Thundering Falls?
I think, or the Tunnel Grinder, either works. Probably the Thundering Falls, yeah. You discard the Thundering Falls.
Yeah, at this stage in the game, the tap lands are just awkward. And this doesn't quite give us enough cards in hand to Roaring Furnace and Overlord of the Mist Moors. But we could just bounce it. Oh, that wouldn't be good.
You could also just draw another 5 cards and then kill it.
Oh, with the Tunnel Grinder? Yeah, okay.
Or, I mean, the season.
Oh,
You
with the
draw
season. Yeah,
5
yeah, right.
And
Of
then
course.
you...
How many dragons have we used? 1? Just 1?
Yeah, just 1. So you still have 3 dragons. As win cons, you also have 1 Chandra. So you do have... okay, so here,
So we
they
have...
can't scroll shift.
Yeah.
Good to know.
They can't scroll shift. We could play a land, play season and torch and roaring furnace. Is that useful? They don't have basics. We could demo field them.
Yeah, why don't you lead with the demo field then? Because it'll force out their this sounding big enough. That's their last card. Or if they were tricking us and making us think they have a basic and they actually have a scroll shift in hand, or they tricked us into thinking they don't have any basics.
That would be
Probably
insane.
just hit one of the open mana.
That would be insane if they sideboarded in a basic. And the last card is scroll shift. Then I will take my hat off to the opponent. Yeah, they don't have it.
Oh, that's also true.
I also don't
basic in their
have a
hand.
basic.
That's fine.
Okay, fine.
We have more mana than them.
Yeah, so what do I want to do here? Do I want to just season?
You, yeah. I think just draw 5.
Let's
You have board wipes.
skip the turn, clear their mana.
And also, your Brass's Tunnel Grinder will flip, so that's also good value.
Do I want to cast Bitter Reunion this turn? Yeah, right? It's a permanent, it'll find us a kill spell.
Yeah. You can hold on to it, just get rid of the lands, I think. Oh, yeah,
Oh,
it's
I'm
end
sorry,
step right
yeah,
now.
but-
You're on
okay.
the end step, right?
Actually, Cavern is not useless.
If you had held full control, you could cast the torch on one of the things as soon as the Tekulan flips.
Oh, right, okay.
Then you only have to discard 1 card.
Oh, I need to... Right.
Yeah, you need to discard only 2.
Yeah.
You're submitting 4 right now.
I was confused. Grindy game, very grindy game. We've actually only got 4 minutes left, so I'm going to speed up. And then we can unpack decisions later.
I would bargain here.
Oh, what, and just sack one of these?
Yeah, sack one of the Bitter Union, sack one of the map tokens.
So I want... Right, yeah, okay, that makes sense. I want to find a dragon.
Yeah, I think you lead with Tunnel Grinder. With
Yeah,
Tekulan.
but not with Tekulan, right?
With Tekulan.
Hmm?
Because you don't know if you'll find it or not. I think you do lead with
Okay.
Tekulan.
I'll cast that. and I think I want to bin all of this and find a dragon.
Just keep the fires a victory.
Okay.
Just
Alright.
in case they scroll shift the Overlord.
A bad
Okay, that's
spread
nice.
of cards.
Encounterable dragon.
There's a Chandra. So we have
Perfect.
double unsummon and fires available. We can add 2 mana and we could just Moment of Truth here.
You could also just map here. I think
Oh,
this
yeah.
is like a waiting turn to just like try to win next turn. You want to make sure you don't die.
Yeah. Pyroclasm is a bit outclassed, we don't need that.
Yeah, fire cost to go.
8 cards left in the bin, in the library, sorry.
Yeah, that's not even a worry for me right now because you have 2 more Hellraisers, a ton of mana. There's no chance you lose or win. There's no chance you don't win before you mill. Unless they have a Jace, then you're screwed.
Right. However, if they... yeah, okay. So we have double unsummon, double fires, thanks to the Chandra, and we just need to survive this turn. They are scrying, it's a good sign.
Yeah, if they don't do anything on their end step, you can just cast Moment of Truth.
On their end step. On mine.
Yeah. On their end step, yeah.
Got it, okay. That's a lot of nothing. So, let's Moment of Truth. I'm gonna unsummon this dragon.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They might use another... okay, they didn't, which is a good sign.
Yeah,
There's
if they
the dragon.
did, you will most likely find another Moment of Truth. You'll find another Hellraiser off the Moment of Truth, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 2 minutes of play. Gotta
Yeah.
finish this up.
Yeah, let's let's wrap this up. 3 cards left. Do I want to use Takutlan on my turn?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it matters. You just win this turn, probably. Make
bit
sure you add
scared
the
to.
Chandra mana first.
Oh, add the sorry, I missed that. But yes, I should have. Okay, done.
Nice.
Caesar.
Nice. Don't draw.
I'm
Yeah,
ending
don't draw.
fight.
I think we got it.
Yeah,
I think we've got it now.
should be game.
We just need to make 5 dragons, maybe 6 to be safe. And we have got it. Am I unsummoning a dragon?
No, because at this point they would have played the removal. You can just click the unsummon and then press decline.
Yeah.
You don't want to cast either of those either.
Oh my god, we're running out of time. How long have we got left? Less than a minute?
Okay. Minute's more than enough. Yeah, don't cast either. Just cast the other Hellraiser, or add the mana and cast it. Or you can add the mana and then just cast Season. Hard cast Season.
I still haven't... there's a season. Sweet. Okay. Yeah, this is done. We are done.
Yeah.
There's no way that there's 30 seconds left. But we do have this win. Okay, well, there's a Chandra. I guess we'll keep this one anyway.
I will burn Phyrexia to
Yeah.
ash.
It's typically better to keep the new Chandra because it refreshes the copy ability,
Oh, okay.
but it doesn't matter here at all. And you also get to add 2 mana again, so it works like a ritual where like if you have, like that's one nice part about Chandra, if you have no mana to Bitter Reunion, to sack the Bitter Reunion, you can always, if you find a Chandra from the bin, it's just a ritual.
Yeah. I see. Okay, that was sick. Can I just say that our first coaching stream, and I don't think we lost, did we?
We have not. But we've
Which
only
is-
played 2 games.
Yeah, we did only play 2 games, but and I guess we didn't play against Demir or Gruul, which were the ones I was having the most trouble with, right? But still, so I want to look at a play-by-play of those last games, if that's
Sure.
okay with you, because there were a few questions that I wanted to ask. So I think we can't see the sideboard decisions here unless we like watch back the VOD, but that's not going to work. But talk to me about sideboarding in that last game. So against this, in fact, let me get the deck up. So in that last game against this Esper Overlords deck, you brought in Barrage, Pyroclasm, and the Brotherhood's Ends, which we did determine was like not what you would have done in hindsight if you'd have known they were going to switch to a hardcore control shell. But
So-
talk me through the logic there, of because you cut 3 steps ahead, Flame Shaper, and do you remember the other 2 cuts?
I think it was the Unsummon.
The 2 unsummons. Yeah, so can you talk me through that? Because I don't know what I would have done, but I don't think it would have been the same as you.
Okay, so what's funny, I think, is that I don't think our sideboarding worked, where I think we still saw, like, the cards we cut. I'm not sure. But other than that, like, first, my read was completely wrong. Like, I've been playing a lot of ladder, and the new Esper Pixie deck, I find is very low to the ground, has explosive starts. They have, like, turn one Storm Chasers into Esper Pixie, into another Storm Chasers, into Hopeless Nightmare, and it's like you want to kill them early, and then they run out of card advantage. This deck played very differently from what I expected. They're playing Scroll Shift, which I did not see coming at all, and a lot of counter spells.
Yeah.
So, well, the initial idea for the sideboarding was I need sweepers, because if I can kill those creatures early, they don't have the pressure to kill me, and I can develop, and then I can proceed to win the game. So one thing is, against everything but mono red, that's an aggro deck, I don't cut too many payoffs. Sometimes I don't cut any. Here, like, I sometimes cut the Chandra Flame Shaper, sometimes I don't. Here, they felt less aggressive than they were, so I would in hindsight keep all my payoffs.
Okay.
I would not cut a single one. I would still play the Elder Dragon War. I think you could also stay to keep in the 3 steps ahead or bring in the negates. I think negates could have been nice.
It would have been good to have negates in that game to fight over some of the stuff we wanted to resolve.
It's actually really interesting. I don't think we saw a single creature from them that third game.
Not a single creature, and they didn't even play that many lands. I'm pretty sure they were on like maybe 7 lands by the end of the game, which is not that much for how long that went on.
Don't know how they transformed their deck from being Pixie Storm Chaser Challenge to having 0 creatures in the third game. Like, they drew all 15 sideboard cards or something.
Yeah, Yeah, and you
Yeah,
know
so
that's the reason to do it. If it completely blindsides us and it makes all of our sideboard cards useless, that's a reason. It's a high risk, high reward strategy. It kind of worked, right?
yeah, but I guess, but that's because I made a hard read because you know I thought it was a meta deck, but
Yeah.
it wasn't.
So we played against two domain decks there, and I do feel like that matchup is fairly good. Um, Still,
Domain can be hard.
can be hard.
Like,
Hmm.
so how domain if they play aggressively, they can basically just, if you don't have the ill-timed explosion on time, like it's a risk for them. Where if they play aggressively and then you have the ill-timed explosion to kill their overlord plus the Zur, then that's a pretty big blowout. But if the game drags out long, you can typically win with a Jace.
Yeah.
But there's always the threat with the new like Zur overlords where they can just kill you in one turn, and it's very hard to interact with because
Yeah.
you
Right.
can kill the Zur at instant speed, but they can also animate everything at instant speed.
Mm-hmm. Oh, hello, cat.
So the best way around that is if you think they have the Zur in hand and their board is filled with a bunch of overlords and leyline bindings, you just bounce the entire board with Season of Weaving to give you extra time, and you're trying to win within that extra time.
Which
That's
is
basically the idea.
interesting. Again, that would not have been my instinct because, like, Overlord of the Mistmores is the one that deck tends to want the most in the late game, and then of course the Season of Weaving doesn't bounce those tokens.
Yeah.
Plus, because all of the Overlords have ETB effects, my instinct wouldn't be to bounce them. But I think I think what I'm doing there is the novice player mistake of thinking, well, it has an ETB, so I don't want to bounce it, but not
you're
thinking
correct.
about.
You're
Sorry, go on.
correct that you don't want to bounce those creatures, but if it's going to kill you, you have to bounce those creatures.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you don't have a choice.
Mhm.
It's not a great choice. You would rather just play out the game. I'm just saying in like the hypothetical where if they have a board full of enchantments and you can't kill them this specific turn, you should use your Season of Weavings to buy extra time so you can get to your Jaces. Because you draw 2 cards, you probably have onboard Tunnel Grinder maybe. You bounce that to your hand so you can dig for more cards. And once you get to like 6 mana, you can sort of be able to more easily find and buy a lot of time because all of their plays are kind of sorcery speed, and if they have to rebuild their board, sure,
Yeah.
they get all their ETBs again, but then if you bounce it again, then they have to do it again. It just gives you time.
Yeah. Okay.
It's obviously not good like if you're playing a fair game and you're just bouncing their board over and over again.
Mhm.
It's just tempo.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Now I know that I had a question halfway through one of these games. I think it was this one, where you suggested something that I like. It's not that I disagreed, but it's not. It didn't occur to me, and I don't think we had time to really dig into it. So I'm gonna see if we can find that moment. So this turn I bitter reunioned. Yeah, we played out a Tunnel Grinder. Do you remember me, like, the point where we made that decision that is this ringing a bell?
Not sure.
That's all right. Let's see if we can find it. It might have been. Oh yeah. Do you know what? I think it might have been around here. So on this turn, I drew Elder Dragon Wolf for the turn. Played Cavern of Souls. Now, I know it's showing that my lands are tapped. They are not. That's just 17 lands. Gets a bit weird sometimes. Oh, wait. Maybe this was after I played Bitter Reunion. Okay, so right. It's their turn. They make me discard. I discarded a Chandra here? No, Torture Tower. I discarded Torture Tower, drew Season of Weaving. Right, so this turn, they have 4 mana open, 4 cards in hand. We have Season of Weaving, Elder Dragon War, and Chandra here. We have 4, 5, 6, 7 mana. It was something to do with... Oh, yeah, there was the unlocking the sauna turn, Sam. I think you might be right. I think you're right. I think I did have a question there. We'll see if we can find that. But here, we've got 7 mana. So what did I do here? I mean, looking at this now, Nithin, what do you think is the correct play in this spot? I think they've got 4 mana open. It's more likely to be this town isn't big enough, and so I'd probably just cast the Season of Weaving with the understanding that it might get countered. It might get, you know, negated or disdainful stroked, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Can you see?
I
Okay.
think...
It's probably really tiny.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
I think I would lead with the Chandra, because Season of Weaving drawing 5 cards is, I think, way more important than Chandra.
Okay.
If it gets countered.
Yeah.
Now, it did get killed, and they didn't have a counter spell. So, in hindsight, Season would have been better here, or even Elder Dragon War. But they would have killed the Elder Dragon War as well.
Right,
So,
yeah.
maybe just drawing 5 cards would have been better here, and then just hitting your land drop, and you just, like, outpace them. But I think playing Chandra, trying to get a counter to pave way for Season is good as well.
Yeah,
or if they bounce it, you can just replay it, I guess.
We played the Chandra, upticked, played Tunnel Grinder, and passed. And then, yeah, they get lost the Chandra, right? So get lost, oh, it does hit enchantments, actually. I did not actually know that. So it could have hit the Elder Dragon War too. So in hindsight, because they didn't counter it, you would have played the Season of Weaving, but still, you would have, in that spot, having not seen a get lost yet in this game, you would have played out the Chandra.
Yeah, because I think playing Season of Weaving, drawing 5, is more likely to win you the game than Chandra alone.
Okay, yeah. So...
Because you just dig for more answers, you have enough mana now that you're not worried about mana.
Yeah, I'm with you. Okay, and then in that next turn cycle, they made us discard twice. So we kept the Season of Weaving.
Pretty scary turn.
Yes. And then we just cast it, right? And we thought they were going to counter it, but they ended up just scrying. And at this point, we're just way, way, way far ahead.
Yeah.
So, okay. I'm going to go back. Sam, you are correct. There was a point in one of those games where I wanted to just open the sauna and you chose a different play. And I want to... does that ring a bell?
Yeah, it does. Where it was either Chandra or sauna, I think.
Let's see if we can find it.
Was it draw with the ill-timed explosion?
I think it was something like... Okay, yeah, this is it. So we've got a... so we played Roaring Furnace to kill the otter. And then there's a bit of a staring match. They countered... we countered their Overlord of the Mistmoors. And then I think on this turn, we... yeah, so we just play a land, go. What did we play this turn? Oh, yeah. We drew 2 with Explosion, with Ill-Timed Explosion. And then we pass to them. They go for Opt, Nurturing Pixie, bounce the Storm Chaser's Talent. We snap off the Pixie with the Torch Tower. And then we untap. So in this position, we play a land. And we could unlock the sauna. We could just Season of Weaving. Or we could, if we wanted to, just hold up Moment of Truth and unsummon. I think that's probably wrong. I think I would either unlock the sauna or play the Season. I don't remember if this was the exact spot, but I think facing down 2 mana and facing down a blue deck, I would unlock the sauna here. Yeah, I would unlock the sauna here. What would you do? So we played the Season of Weaving. I can't remember if this was the spot where
I think you said unlock the sauna. I said play the season.
yeah. Yes, because
So
I was afraid of. Was this when I was afraid of spell stutter and you didn't
no,
agree
that
that
was
there was a
different.
read on spell stutter?
That was I think game 2 or game 3. That one was yeah, like you said, play out the land before playing the tunnel grinder,
Yeah.
and they countered our first tunnel grinder.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But in this situation, so from my read on the deck, right, I'm thinking they're holding up 2 mana. They chose to not play the Storm Chaser's talent, and they don't have
Right.
anything
Yeah.
else on the board.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really know what they would have. But I'm thinking, okay, if we unlock the sauna, right? You only draw 1 card. I'm thinking they're playing Esper Pixie. Esper
Yeah.
Pixie doesn't typically run counterspells in the main board.
Okay.
So that
Yeah.
was my first thing. I was like, they don't have counterspells.
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, if you unlock the Steaming Sauna, they could just bounce it, which does rebuy your Roaring Furnace. But I think if you just draw 5 cards, that's way more likely to just win the game right away.
Yeah. So if it does, it's so high upside if it does resolve, and
Yeah.
they're not likely to have anything they can do in this spot, so it's just worth going for.
Yeah.
I think that is, it's a really good point, and it's really well put. I still think it's hard for me to... It's hard for me to take that in a way where I think I would replicate this decision in a future game. Which...
Yeah, one other thing you can think of is you're paying 6 mana to draw 5, or you're paying 5 mana to draw 1.
Yeah.
Right? And I think you would Steaming Sauna, like you should Steaming Sauna later when you don't have other options, or it's mana efficient to. I would never lead with Steaming Sauna.
Okay.
Because it's just susceptible to getting removed.
Yeah, and then you have put 5 mana into it, drawn 1 card, versus like with Season of Weaving, either it's 6 mana, it resolves and you draw 5, or it's 6 mana, it doesn't resolve, you're down 1 card, but your opponent is also down a spell.
Well, if I know they have a counterspell, or if I'm expecting them to have a counterspell, I think it makes sense to Steaming Sauna.
Okay,
But
right. Yeah.
in my mind, they don't have a counterspell, so it's always correct to Season of Weaving.
Okay. Well, hey, you know, we inadvertently got a bunch of practice into the Overlords matchup. In this matchup, because that was both the decks we played, right? They were both different colors of Overlord. Like,
I
game
guess
1 was against this Teamer, or like, oh, it was just 5 color.
Yeah, it was just
Yeah.
domain.
Yeah.
very
Game 1
slow
was against
domain.
this domain deck. Oh, and it was the Atraxa deck. Game 2 was this game 2 of the same game? I'm guessing so. Actually, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what this looked. Oh yeah, did this opponent just scoop it up?
No, this
I think they did,
opponent
and then we played 3 games against
the first
the
opponent
sort
did,
of,
yeah.
the Esper Overlords deck. So, okay, so let's talk a little bit about this Overlords matchup. You feel like it's a tough one. What are the key points you need to hit in the Overlords matchup to feel good?
I want early card flow. So Moment of Truth, Bitter Reunions, Brass's Tunnel Grinders. I want payoffs in the graveyard. And then I want to hit a Hellraiser quickly. And I want to be able to just keep casting Hellraiser over and over again until I can get something going.
Yeah.
And that's typically how I win game 1. Game 1 is actually fairly high win rate, I think. Because they don't have any of the sideboard cards. They have a lot of dead removal. So there's that. But Yeah, but they can also be faster if you don't draw. If you are the one who draws the torch to the towers and the fires of victories early, and you're just sitting there with removal, then you might be slower than them.
Yeah.
But if you have that early card flow, it typically feels fine game one.
Okay. Yeah, so we can just exercise our game plan, focus on, like, so I guess beeline towards the combo is that how you put it?
Yeah,
For game one?
yeah, be towards the combo for sure. And if they play early Zur, ill-timed explosion, works fine. You don't
Okay.
care for your spot removal in that matchup at all, so.
All right. Yeah, that's good insight. I just want to catch up on chat real quick. So James Norman, I'm glad you enjoyed the games. They were fun. That last one, I know we went all the way to time. I think that is just like us finding a bit of a cadence in how to approach, like how again, I've never been coached on Magic before, so I don't know how much to ask of Nithin. I mean, why don't we talk about that for a second, Nithin? If we just let's switch to just chatting for a sec. We're pretty much at the end of our first coaching session. What did you think? What was your first impression? What are the kind of glaring mistakes that you think I'm making, or that you know, am I approaching something wrong? Because I haven't had a whole lot of success with the deck. Yeah. I mean, what are your first impressions?
I think overall you played fairly well. I guess we didn't play into any of the hard matchups.
Yes.
To see like too many of the decisions in those games. Like aggro can be tricky for sure, but it's definitely very winnable. Like I do have a above 50% win rate against Gruul. Gruul is actually, I think, a better matchup than Mono Red because they don't have as many burn spells, and this deck has a lot more has the creature interaction to deal with, like aggro decks that don't just burn you in the face.
Yeah,
like my
right.
Boros burn matchup is terrible. My Boros Auras matchup is pretty good.
Right. Yeah. I see.
So, so there might be some decision points there that you might be missing. Dimir, I would say, is a hard. Like it is hard. Like if they have all the answers, they just win. But you could also just cheese the game, or just win out of nowhere. Or if you have all the answers to their Kaido, so like Kaido is huge right now, right? So that's why I'm playing the 2 Fires of Victory. That's why the Lithomantic Barrage comes in.
Yeah.
But if they have all the answers and your deck doesn't line up quite right, it can be a very uphill battle. Especially if they have the Tishanas in hand and then they Tishana something and then they bounce it with Kaido and then they have Tishanas again. That's pretty brutal. But if you can get a proactive Tunnel Grinder down on the play against Dimir, it's actually really good into them because you just have this threat that they can't deal with. And if it ever flips, you've pretty much won the game unless their board state is like Curiosity plus like 4 creatures. Then yeah, you just lose. But
interesting. Okay, you know, I didn't think that at all. So I just want to synthesize that point. A flipped Tunnel Grinder is incredibly good against Dimir.
It's incredibly good into like anything just because it's free card advantage. It's a free spell. Basically, whenever you're cheating on mana, this deck, it's Izzet, right? We don't have the best creatures. We don't have the best removal. But what this deck does is it cheats on mana.
Yeah.
So if you can cheat on mana, of course, you're going to be very strong.
That is interesting insight. Do you know what? I think I was undervaluing the Tunnel Grinder. I was seeing it as an enabler, like a discard enabler, a graveyard enabler with upside. In that if it flips, it's nice. However, it sounds to me like you put a lot more value in you know, being able to play with Takutlan and the massive swing in mana that I can give you.
I do feel like you do flip Takutlan fairly often, but even when you don't, it's still like it's still on face value a good enough card.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just discarding your hand is typically the best part of this. Tikuan is just upside, but into matchups like that, it's like a side quest. Almost. You're like sort of aiming for this, and it's passive, but it is a way for you to gain an advantage.
Yeah.
But obviously, it's not like you don't put all your eggs in the Brass's Tunnel Grinder basket. Like, you don't descend. Like, you don't take bad decisions just to descend. Like, if my only play is Ill-Timed Explosion, and I won't just discard 2 cards just to descend, unless I know the descending is going to win me the game. So you shouldn't like focus too much on it, but it is something to aim for sure.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, that takes us up to, we wanted to do a couple of hours of coaching. We are at the end of those 2 hours. I hope you guys have enjoyed having Nithin on the stream. I know I certainly have. It has been immensely useful to have you in the back, Nithin. It has been really awesome. And, what do you know? You join as a coach, and all of a sudden I can't lose a game. But if we do this again, and we'll talk about doing this again, and you guys let me know in chat if you would be interested in doing this again. But if we do this again, then we'll try and find the Dimir mid-range matchup. And we'll try and find the Gruul and the Mono Red matchup. So yeah, I'll play a little faster, and we'll try and rack up more experience, and just like maybe try and hit on the key talking points, right? What do you think, Nithin?
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. Yeah, I think if we can get those meta matchups, because I think if people are playing like in paper, they're worried more about the meta decks that they might face in RCQs or something.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Yeah, James, absolutely. Same for you, Hugh. We will talk about doing this again. I will share on Blue Sky. So there's a panel below. If you follow me on Blue Sky, I'll share what the plan is with Nithin. Again, I will have to talk to him. I'm not going to put him on pressure on the stream to commit to anything right now. But I'll share then when we're going to have him on again. So I would say drop the stream a follow, if you so please. And follow me on Blue Sky, or keep an eye on the Discord, and we'll probably update there as well if we do decide to do this again. But I mean, I would love to have you back, man. Again, I'm not going to ask you to commit to anything, but I would love to do this on stream again. I think people find it really useful, and you are incredible with this deck. You are thinking about it at a depth that I don't know if I can even aspire to, and that's really, really useful to see.
Yeah, thanks. I think, yeah, I definitely want to do this again. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, sweet. Lots of love coming out for you in the chat. So good going, guys. Good going. Yeah, let's give Nithin a little round of applause. And then I think what we're going to do is I'm going to take a short break, and then I'm going to be back, and I'm going to jump into another game with this deck without Nithin. So we're going to just play some more, and you just watch me absolutely tank without Nithin in the backseat. Nithin, you're welcome to hang around in chat and stuff, but any final words before you go?
Yeah, good luck. Hopefully it goes well. I might watch it back, so
yeah, I hope so too, but there's no guarantee, but we'll see. Okay, folks, I'm going to cut to a short intermission. We'll be back in like 5-10 minutes, and then I'm going to jump into another game or two with this deck. Yeah, follow on Blue Sky, follow the stream, and keep an eye out for maybe us having Nithin back in future. But let's give him a big thanks. Thank you, James Norman. I appreciate that. Appreciate the follow. Yeah, let's give Nithin one final thanks, and I'll see you guys back here in 10 minutes or so. Bye for now. Hello, folks. We are back. Yeah, I mean, how sweet was that? Nithin, awesome dude, really friendly, really damn good at Magic, really good with this deck. And had some really insightful stuff to share. Things that, like, I don't think about at all. And that is the value of coaching. That is the value of just collaborating. Yeah, time to jump on the ladder and go 0-3. You guys just watch. In the time that we won those 2 games, I can play about 10% faster and lose 100% more convincingly. So I'm going to switch over to Arena. We are going to jump straight back in and use what we have learned to try and win with Izzet Hellraiser. Why waste time? Why waste time? But definitely we'll have Nithin back if he's up for it. If he's up for it, I would love to have him back on the stream and do more of this coaching live. You know what? Whether it's on like on his stream or our stream, if whatever he wanted to do, I think it's really useful. I think he has a ton of insight and knowledge that it'd be great to get out into the community. I'm going to keep this. I would like to find more card advantage, but the early interaction is pretty useful. Makes me feel warm and fuzzy. So the downside is that I'm going to talk less about what's you know, good and bad and what I should be doing, and I'm going to talk more absolute rubbish. Okay. Red, white. Yeah, I would love to draw some discard spells or some card advantage in some form. I will just kill this. And I will Tunnel Grinder away most of this. Don't need Cavern of Souls in this matchup. Unsummon might be worth keeping. I'm gonna cast it. I think that's correct-ish. Okay, so I could, shit, I could frickin', I could Moment of Truth to get a counter on the Tunnel Grinder. I could Demolition Field and then unsummon and, like, no, that's just stupid. Why would I do that? I need to Moment of Truth and unsummon. So I'm just going to play the Thundering Falls and then do those 2 things. There's our Brass's Tunnel Grinder trigger. So, alright, they're going to Ruckus. I could just go for the unsummon now. They might have... I'm sure they have something. Wait, did this not cost them anything? Did they plot this last turn and I didn't pay attention? They must have done. Borosex's basically mono red. So I think I need to wait for them to commit some more to this Heartfire hero. Like, if it's dealing 3 here, I'll probably just take it. I want to see them do something else. They didn't. I will take the Torch the Tower. Yeah. Unsummon in the graveyard. I'm going to try to unsummon this thing. I'm anticipating a Sheltered by Ghosts. Actually, I probably should have torched the tap. No. Does it not have flash? Does Shelter by Night... What's the flash and aura that protects a creature? Am I not thinking of Sheltered by Ghosts? I think they're going to protect the Heartfire hero, okay? Shard Mage's Rescue, that's the one. I knew it was a shh. Shh. Opponent is really thinking... So they're trying to cast Sheltered by Ghosts as well, see? Because they don't know that it's actually Shard Mage's Rescue they're meant to be casting. It's taken them a while to figure it out. We might be winning, guys! This might be the Nithin effect. If Shadowheart was the Shard Mage doing the rescuing, wouldn't it be Shart Mage's rescue? Yes, and it would have like a 80% chance of just doing nothing and missing. That's the Shadowheart effect. Imagine MTG with critical hits. Well, what would that look like? That would be like what? Like you have like an 8% chance to just copy a spell and cast it for free, or something like that. They could do that in Alchemy. They could absolutely add like critical hits in Alchemy. Or like whenever a creature deals combat damage, there's a 10% chance it just gets double strike for some reason. I don't know. What would that look like? Okay. Opponent timed out. I don't know what all that was about. I'm going to lead on the reunion. Drop the demo field. And yeah, we'll just be winning the game real soon. We could have actually cast Hellraiser last turn, but this time, if we hold it for next turn, tactical play from Josh here, we hold it and we get to use Takutlan with it. But I think Asfarat has tapped out, so I think we've got this wrapped up. Yeah, go ahead, Sam. You do you, my man. But folks, you know, if you're enjoying the stream, if you enjoyed having Nithin on, again, you like let me know so I can strong arm him into coming back, because I think he did a fantastic job. But hey, it's your guys' show. Well, actually, it is my show, but it's I run a democracy over here, and if you guys enjoyed having Nithin around, and you want to see more of him, then I would love to have him back. So let me know. Drop the stream a follow. Follow me on Blue Sky. And just talk to me. Let me know that you want to see more of Nithin. Because I think we're probably going to carry on with the coaching either way. The question is whether we do it offline or on stream. Again, I'm if he's up for it. Okay, that was a bit of a dud. But we take those wins. Let's jump into another game. I would love to just snatch one nice win with this game, with this deck, without, somebody backseating me. To make me feel good about the decision to hire a coach. I'm gonna keep this because we can bitter reunion on 2. If there's a chance we just get run over. It's not a great hand, but I do think it's a keep. I think on the draw this is a keep. So, okay, this might be Esper again. Looks like it is. Thundering Falls is pretty nice. I will keep this Tunnel Grinder. Second Scavenger. So I do need to reset this board. Looking for ill-timed explosion to help me do it. Elder Dragon War might not quite get there, although it would be pretty good. But yeah, I mean, they've turned up the heat in a big way. I don't think I'm going to have time to Season of Weaving, but I might want to keep it to make sure that if I do find ill-timed explosion, I can't do it next turn anyway. Next turn is still going to be a tunnel grinder turn, so there's ill-timed explosion. So next turn is tunnel grinder, and then the turn after that we can stabilize. But I think I'm going to tunnel grinder and throw away all of the cards in my hand. So I got to discard something big. Yeah, I got to discard something big. They're going to replay this scavenger, that's fine, but they could potentially grow this optimistic scavenger out of range. I might run out of time. Yeah, actually, I think I'm just dead, which is insane. Unless I draw a unless I draw a torch to the tower, kill this scavenger, and they cannot add any power to the board. So I have to do this, find torch to the tower, didn't find it. So, okay, that's game one. A swift defeat. But they curved out, their curve out was insane. 3 optimistic scavengers and a hex mage is a really, really tough start. Tough start to beat. I want all of this removal and these sweepers. I want to treat this as if it's an aggro matchup, I think. They can run Kaito, but I still think, yeah, I treat this like it's an aggro slash Dimir matchup. Unsummon might be useful, but I don't like it in this matchup. I also don't need 3 steps ahead here. And I can see just cutting a furnace. I can see cutting the Elder Dragon War. I guess I've got to test this card more. I've got to know. I've got to play with it and see if it's good. So I'll play it over ill-timed explosion. Yeah, I've not found Elder Dragon War super strong, but people stand by it, so we'll test it. Awkward hand. Keepable. Looking for a land, that will do. So I could remove this, but if they... I want to see what they do first. Talent. And a Hex Mage. So that is going to grow the Scavenger to 3, so I'm going to Brotherhood's End instead. Okay, not a bad spot. Rest in peace. Fine. Let's give him the basics check. And then abrade the pixie. So they have... Yeah. Yeah, let's give him the basics check. Do they pass the basics check? They failed the basics check, chat! Oh! That is very nice. So we'll just deal 3 to the pixie, and they are gonna be struggling now. Oh! We just stone rained them. Yeah, that's a pretty hardcore punish for a greedy mana base. I don't want to discard this land. I do want to play the land, right? I could see discarding a Hellraiser here, because it's not really that good in this spot. We want to actually find my big planeswalkers. Yeah, see, Tunnel Grinder's nice too. I think I'm gonna go Mountain, Tunnel Grinder, drop this Shivan Reef. We're just digging through, trying to hit all of our land drops and play our big spells. They're not going to be able to overcome them. Like, next turn, Season of Weaving, draw 5 cards is not... It's going to put us way, way, way too far ahead. Mountain, Season, draw 5 cards. Discard the Spire Bluff. Okay, I'm going to Tunnel Grinder away all of these cards. Let's get rid of all of you. Play the Thundering Falls. I don't need the Cavern of Souls. Now we can Lithomantic Barrage this Sphere of Isolation. And we can torch an Otter. If they commit to the board, we can just ill-timed Explosion. Do you know what? Let's let this happen, because we can deal 3 and sacrifice the Tunnel Grinder with virtually no downside, really. These Hellraisers can go. Elder Dragon War. I'll keep. There's a fear of isolation, returning the hopeless nightmare. So yeah, I will just ill-timed explosion. I think I might drop off the Elder Dragon War here, as much as I hate to do it. Or honestly, maybe it's... I don't know, is it like this? It does make a dragon. Maybe it's like this. Because right now this is a 6 mana 4/4 and we don't really need that. I actually want to just find my planeswalkers and win that way. They gotta run out. They've gotta run out. They aren't running out. Okay. But they are tapped out. Yeah, I can actually do this because I can tick up,
No idea.
add red. Shit, no, that doesn't work. This isn't an instant or sorcery. Here comes the throw. Here comes the throw. Oh man, what a moron. Okay. Might just throw in this game. I cannot be trusted. I cannot be left alone with this deck. If they have literal anything, I just lose. Yeah. God. Why would I throw it like that, man? I should have... I just threw it. I just threw it! Okay, do you know what? That has proven it to me. That has proven it to me that everything that Nithin tried to teach me has gone down the toilet already. Ugh. Oh, I'm so annoyed. We should have had that game too. I think we were totally in control at the end there, and I just threw it away. All right, folks. I'm going to wrap it up there. We've had a couple of hours of coaching from Nithin. We played a couple more games. It went as expected, but hopefully with Nithin's help, I am going to improve my game and get better with this Izzet Hellraiser deck, which is a ton of fun and can be really good in the right hands. Not these hands, but someone else's hands. Anyway, I'm going to be back on Tuesday for more Magic the Gathering streams. So that's going to be Tuesday at... actually, do you know what? I might do Tuesday morning UK time because I'm still on leave from work. So it doesn't have to be in the evening. I will announce it on Blue Sky. So again, there's a panel below. Follow me on Blue Sky for stream updates. Follow on Twitch to get notified when I go live. I will see you again on Tuesday, and then again on Friday, and then next Sunday for more Magic the Gathering streams. We're going to be practicing more Izzet Hellraiser. I may do a few drafts if I feel like it. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But that is going to be it from me. I appreciate you being here. I've had a ton of fun. I hope you have too, and I'll catch you on a future stream. Goodbye for now.